sin interés.
All right, I am just en route home from Barcelona, and at the end of these conferences, I just like to take a little bit of time to reflect on some of the moments from the week, what I learned and how it will apply to our industry and how it will apply to businesses individually. Now, one thing I've been thinking about this week is, I'll often see coworkers at these conferences, new coworkers or coworkers I've worked with for a long time, as well as industry friends that I've known for a long time, and industry friends that I've more recently met. And I still often get, regardless of who it is, I often get the question, do you miss being in sales? Because I spent 10 years before moving to DevCentral in F5 sales as a sales engineer. I was working with Daryl Montgomery as my account manager for that entire time, and I just had the time of my life. And so the answer is always yes, I do miss it, and I highlight certain aspects of it though. This week at Mobile World Congress, I did get to experience those aspects, but just from a different perspective. So first is the thrill. There's highs and there's lows to sales. The lows are very, very low, but the highs are very, very fun, and they're pretty addictive. Going into Mobile World Congress, I was briefed on an announcement that we were going to make around the Ericsson Mobile Wallet, and this is a really important announcement, but it wasn't finalized quite yet, and there was a final key step.
All right, 11:15. Frederick?
Hey.
We're about to go do something pretty cool, big news this week. Can you tell us what we are about to go do?
Indeed. We're heading over to the Ericsson booth where Francois, our CEO, will be signing an MOU together with Ericsson, announcing our partnership and collaboration, bringing Ericsson's financial technology into the banking and fintech and enterprise industry. Extremely exciting.
Now, from my time in sales, I know how much preparation and effort goes into just such critical yet short moments like this. In this case, months and months of effort.
You've been working on this for a while now?
Indeed, we've been working over 6 months setting this up, but our relationship with Ericsson go way back. For the last 10, 15 years. We've been the preferred security supplier for Ericsson's financial platforms.
Awesome. Very exciting. We're going to go as soon as Francois gets here. I'll be following you guys. Exciting times though.
Thank you.
Another aspect of sales that I miss is going out and speaking to businesses every day and learning about those businesses. A skill that you pick up in sales is being able to speak to a business and learning how to dissect that business very, very quickly. Within an initial meeting, you should come away from that being able to understand that business's business model. You should know how they generate revenue. You should know how the business operates. You should know how technology applies to their business, or you should have an idea of how technology could apply to their business. And after 10 years of meeting with businesses of all sizes and all industries, I realized I could do this very, very fast, like forwards and backwards. It's like a reflex for me. And one thing I loved about Mobile World Congress is that I got to spend time with my service provider colleagues and get to learn about the technologies that they're experiencing all the time. And I got to see all these new technologies on the expo floor as well. Through all of that, I get to think about how I can creatively apply some of these new technologies towards businesses. This could be AI pets, or it could be flying cars, or it could be high-speed connectivity everywhere, or it could be the ability to transact when you're normally not able to transact money very quickly.
There are robots that are wandering around, and so humanoid robots. There's also a number of robot dogs from different providers. Those are AI powered, so they're smarter than your average dog.
Sometimes I see these things, I'm like, what problem are you trying to solve with a AI dog?
There's nothing to clean up.
Absolutely. I don't know if you got to walk around, but Kara did, and she got to see the AI dogs. So
the AI dogs?
Yes.
I did not get to see that.
She was, and I asked her if she would prefer an AI dog or an AI cat. So I'll ask you the same question, actually. What would you prefer?
Neither.
Yeah, so this is an example of a DPU card, standard cores on the front end, that allows for abstraction of the hardware accelerators that are in the card, and that's what creates a interface that is standard. That's the secret sauce. That's the difference between a smart NIC or a purpose-built NIC card versus a programmable DPU card.
This is coming out very soon. So this is the first piece of hardware we're shipping at F5 with a 400 gig optic on it. So.
Sweet.
Having said all that, there's lots of stress in sales. Like the whole process of selling is a matter of looking at what you can control and figuring out whether or not you can control it, and whether or not there's things that you haven't thought of yet that you can control, and then everything else is outside of your control. Now, with our Ericsson MOU signing, there was a very specific time that we had to get Francois there for. We rushed, however, we were past the time that Frederick had arranged to meet his Ericsson contact at. Mobile World Congress is a huge expo floor, and there was a huge amount of area to cover between the F5 booth and the Ericsson area. But again, there's things that are under your control. And one of those things that you have under control is the amount of buffer time that you give yourself before an actual meeting time. As an experienced sales rep, the time that Frederick set with his Ericsson contact was still a buffered time. I learned early on, if you're on time, you're late, and you buffer for very important things.
All right, Frederick, how'd it go? It was good?
I'm exhausted. Yeah, it was really good.
Okay, we'll take that.
Sales is exhausting, but the highs are worth it, and you learn a lot along the way.
So Ericsson has created this mobile wallet, they also call it financial services platform. These services, though, like every other applications, need to be secure. They are heavy on APIs because they have to draw information from a number of places. And so these APIs need to be secured. And load balancing this traffic, securing these APIs is what F5 does best. And we're doing that at scale. And so Ericsson and F5 together are really building new financial services to tens of millions of people around the world. And we're very proud to be part of that.
So that's my recap for the week. We had a big announcement this week that we got to share. We had a beautiful booth this year. We had a number of meetings that were held inside this booth and this double-decker with the meeting space on top. I got to learn about service provider technologies, and I got to see a whole lot of new technologies as well. And now I get to consider how they apply to various business models. So again, to bring up whether I do miss sales, I do miss sales. I do miss various aspects of it. However, it has given me so many skills that I use now, like every single day, things that I'm going to be using in the near future, and things I'm sure I'll be using years and years and years from now. So if you think you have what it takes to be a sales engineer, and you do have the opportunity to be one, I encourage you to do it. You're going to learn a lot. A lot of the senior folks at F5 started their careers as sales engineers. And fun fact, all of F5 CEOs started off their careers as sales engineers. All right, it's time for me to get going. Thank you very much for following all the content this week. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and otherwise I will see you on the next one.